In this lecture series, we would like to start another challenge to national unity, integrity, sovereignty, and security of India, and that is regionalism. So, under this series of lectures, which consist three different lectures on three different issues, would like to discuss what exactly regionalism means and as it is based on art, literature, dance, music, handicrafts, historical objects. So, in the very introduction, what regionalism is a situation where the authority or influence of a particular area region is encouraged. It could be considered a political, cultural, or simply an emotional experience. This feeling or ideology can be observed in individuals who are passionate about what they where they live are political leaders who have to gain particularly popularity through these activities. Regionalism is not only an expression of one's affection to the region, but it can also take the form of art, literature, dance, music, handicrafts, and historical objects. One strong connection with one's language, ideas, and culture promotes regionalism as one's idealism. So, what regionalism exactly means? The word regionalism has two meanings. In a negative sense, it is a strong and unpleasant for those not from the place. Loyalty to one's home, region over the country or state in a positive sense, it is a political quality related to people's passion for their territory, culture, language, and other aspects to protect their independence. Positive regionalism is a good thing as it promotes individuals to form a sense of brotherhood and similarity based on shared language, religion, or history. The bad notion of regionalism poses a serious danger to the country's unity and integrity. In general, the term regionalism has been used in a negative light in India. The feeling of regionalism might arise as a result of the ruling authorities' continued ignorance of a particular area or region as a result of increased political awareness of the people who have been discriminated against. Some political leaders frequently create feelings of regionalism to keep control over a specific territory or group of people. So, general regionalism can be defined as a homogeneous area with physical and cultural characteristics distinct from those of neighboring areas. Region provides the basis for the emergence of regional identity. It results in loyalty towards the region and ultimately takes the shape of and form of regionalism. So, the very term regionalism having two connotations in negative sense, it is excessive attachment to one's region in preference to country or state. It can threaten nation building efforts such as demand for Khalistan in Punjab, which is giving rise to terrorism and violence within and outside Punjab. As a process, it plays a role within the nation as well as outside. As for example, at the international level, in particularly, we could cite the example of the Khalistani movements at present creating all sorts of disturbance in Canada. In a positive sense, it means people's love for the region, culture, language, etc., with a view to maintain their Independent identity, positive regionalism encourages peoples to develop a sense of brotherhood and commonness on the basis of common language, religion, or historical background. For example, as relating to the case of the creation of the state of Jharkhand. So, in that context, we would like to discuss the regionalism in historical context, and that is relating to the development in pre-independence India. So, in the politics of regionalism, it was started with the implementation of constitutional reforms under the British India government, as such under Government of India Acts of 1909, 1919 and 1935, the establishment and rule of the Justice Party and the self-respect movement in Madras during the pre-independence period by the Periyar E.V. Ramaswamy Iyer could be the example of emerging regionalism in India during pre-independence period, and consequently the Dravidian movement. It also was known as self-respect movement, and it initially focused on emerging and empowering Dalits, the non-Brahmins and poor people. Later it stood against the imposition of Hindi as the sole official language in non-Hindi speaking areas. But it was the demand of carving out their own Dravid Nadu as a separate state which made it a secessionist movement. The movement, however, declined, and today the movement has given birth to several prominent regional parties after many splits and factionalism. Then the next factor or historical development, that is linguistic reorganization of states. So in the 1950s and 1960s, intense ethnic mass mobilization with the violent character was the main force for creation of states on the basis of language or on linguistic basis. Started with the Poti Sri Ramulu movement in Andhra Pradesh and spread to all parts of the country, culminated in formation of the State Reorganization Commission in 1953 and Linguistic Division of States, and in particularly in the northeast regions of India, we could cite certain regional tendencies in 1917 and 70s and 1980s. The main focus of reorganization was India's northeast. The basis of reorganization was tribal insurgency for separation and statehood. The Northeastern States Reorganization of Act 1971 upgraded the Union territories of Manipur, Tripura, and Meghalaya to full statehood, and Mizoram and Arunachal Pradesh, then tribal district, to Union territories. The Khalistani movement, which is the next development in historical context, it was during the 1980s that Khalistan movement, with its aim to create a Sikh homeland, carved off in Punjab. Thus, this movement falls more in the category of a separatist movement. Apart from this, there have been several other secessionist movements, namely in Jammu and Kashmir, Manipur, Nagaland, Arunachal Pradesh, etc. And further, in the year 2000, certain new states were created. In the creation of three new states in 2000, namely Chhattisgarh, Uttaranchal, which is at present is known as Uttarakhand, and Jharkhand. Language did not play a prominent role, rather a combination of ethnicity based on tribal identity, language, regional deprivation, and ecology provided the basis for intense regionalism resulting in statehood. So, in particular, the very Telengana movement, which led to the creation of the state of Telengana in 2014, was driven by economic and cultural grievances. The region felt that it was being politically and economically marginalized by the dominant coastal Andhra Pradesh states and the region in the combined state of Andhra Pradesh. The demand for a separate state grew out of dissatisfaction with the uneven distribution of resources and political movements. And now we would like to discuss the Naxalite movements as a tendency of regionalism in India. The nationalist movement originating in the Naxalbari region of Darjeeling in West Bengal in the 1960s, led by Kanu Sanyal and Charu Majumdar, the nationalist movement is a radical form of regionalism that advocates for the overthrow of the government in favor of peasant-led revolution. While not strictly a regionalist movement, it represents the economic and social disparities between rural and urban India, especially in regions like Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Odisha, Bihar, Andhra Pradesh. And now we would discuss relating the Kashmir movement and in particularly the Kashmir conflict. The region of Jammu and Kashmir has been a flashpoint of regionalism and secessionism due to its unique political status within India as it was provided under Article 370 of the Constitution and which was deleted and removed in the year 2019 by making the state of Jammu Kashmir as a union territory. Over the years, due to its unique political status within India and the ongoing territorial dispute with Pakistan, over the years the region has witnessed various secessionist movements, many driven by a desire for either independence or merger with Pakistan. Then next we would like to discuss the Gorkha national movement and in particularly the movement in West Bengal, the Gorkhaland movement demands the creation of a separate state for the Gorkhaland or Gorkhas of Darjeeling, citing cultural, linguistic, and economic differences with the rest of West Bengal. This movement highlights the regional demands for greater autonomy based on identity and local governance. And another important movement in Mizoram was led by the Mizo National Front. The Mizo National Front in the northeast state of Mizoram led an insurgency against the Indian government in the 1960s, demanding a separate Mizoram state. After the state was granted, the movement shifted from secession to a demand for greater autonomy and the protection of indigenous culture and resources. So, these are the movements in favor of regionalism as we have discussed as the historical developments which led to regionalism in India and in particularly challenges to the national unity, integrity, sovereignty and security of India